Thanks so much for joining us today. We would love to know how God is using this ministry to touch your life. Please take a moment to send your story to marathonchurch.org/mystory. Also, if you would like to support this ministry financially, you can do so by visiting marathonchurch.org and choosing the giving option that works best for you. Thanks again for joining us, and we hope you enjoy today's message.
All right, in about 30 minutes, we got less than 30 minutes, and we're going to be eating, we're going to have a party, we're going to have some fun. That's what we're going to do. What I thought I would do, we would do God and country. I thought we'd do country first, and we'll do God, because God gave us the freedom. You know, we are the luckiest people. Y'all do know that, right? I mean, you hadn't forgotten that we're the luckiest people to be here and to do that. I went to SeaWorld. I'm going to look at this. I think it was made in China, though. Let's just get that over with. I went to SeaWorld, and they have all these things that you can buy because they want all our money. You know that, right? So I went there, and this is Shamu kind of thing. And the girls, what's really interesting, I have faith and grace, and the girls really know how to work me. Dad, you know what I'm talking about? They will they'll get them eyes, and then they'll play off each other. It'd be really nice if I was cool, Daddy. And then Grace will come over and say, I'm really hot. And then I end up buying this thing. So, but this is, it's got a little propeller thing, wait a minute, like a fan. And I'm going to use that today while I'm talking to you. That's good. Let me tell you a use for this that nobody thought about. And I found out while I was down there. We were in line, and we were just squirting each other and all that. I'm just keeping cool. And the girls would not listen to me. Now, let's go ahead. I know that's not your family that does this. I know that your children behave. Is that correct? Are we doing that right? I know your children behave, but mine doesn't seem to want to listen to me. Even after a while, the friend that, shows respect with you and listen, after a while, they just act like all of them, So I'm there, and they're in line, and it's getting a little rowdy, and they're screaming, hollering, and bumping into people, and you're not supposed to do that. And I said, y'all need to stop. And that did not happen. So I decided, I said, I wonder if this will work. So I looked over at my daughter, and I went, pow. And then looked over at Grace, pow, like that right there. Instant. We sell these after service for you. I want you to know. So this was instant, okay? Just like that. What I love about America is, where are you going to find this? I mean, it's everywhere. It's amazing what we get to do. I rode by so many golf courses. I really don't know how people go to church, honestly. There's so many choices. That's what I really want to think about as we walk through this. There's so many choices that we have, and we have to decide how we're going to make this happen. And one of the things when we talk about living, it's not going to be a long, drawn-out message. I'm just going to let you know, this is what the Bible says. This is what you should be doing. This is how you should live, okay? This is what everybody tells us, psychologists. It's amazing how we discovered all this. Psychologists and all the research discovered all this, and the Bible had already said it to begin with. So we're just going to walk through some of that as we go through. How do you get the best out of it? Let me share this with you. I got everything in red, white, and blue. I did that. Just want you to know. Worked hard on that. One of the things, don't be scared of this word, because you use the word give in church, everybody goes crazy, okay? That's probably because you're in debt, okay? Just letting you know. But one of the things that makes life better is learning how to be a giver. Not just once in a while, but a constant, this is how I live, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I'm going to do. I have to buy something for somebody every week, okay? And my daughter helps me spend my money like that, okay? But, it's really nice when it's not her money. But what if it's her money? What will she do with it? That was the thought behind that. But the psychologists tell us the people who do this, who learn to give and be givers, live longer, they're happier, they have more meaningful lives. Can you see that happening? You can see how that would be. And then the other part to that is, well, you would say, I don't have any time, I don't have any money. And then you would have to say, well, so stress and debt is taking away your life. Now, let's make sure you understand what we're saying, because we're living in America, right? We get to choose this. We get to choose this. That's what I'm talking about. So we decide if we want to be in debt and how we want to be stressed. And as I get older, I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to enjoy my daughter. We went and hit golf balls last night. She did really good, okay? You're going to get tired of me talking about faith in just a minute, okay? But I'm one of them proud dads up here. And I'll tell you why I'm proud. Because we were in Daytona, Now, let me tell you this. I found this out the last day on the way back, okay? The last day on the way back. And so I'm in Daytona. We went to Aquatica. I've already given away 2 tickets to Aquatica because it was just me and Faith. So me and Faith are there. And it seems like a teenager wants to eat every hour. There's no way to stop that. Okay, I don't care what you've eaten before. Okay, we're gonna eat. So Faith says, I want some popcorn. I'm like, there's no reason to speak. You can't win. So she says, I want some popcorn. I said, well, okay. I said, well, don't you have some money? That's what I said. You brought money. You saved money for the trip. And she says, no, Daddy, I don't have any money. And I'm like, well, I'm going to hear that a lot probably before it's all over with. And I said, what did you do with your money? She says, well, let me take you back just for a moment. We go to IHOP in Daytona, downtown, and we can see the ocean, the whole deal. And so we went to IHOP, and this lady was there. She had red hair, fiery red hair. I don't know if it was the 4th of July deal they were doing. Fiery red. And so she was the sweetest thing, but you could tell that she was working hard. And she, single mom, working hard, all that stuff. You could just tell all that. And Grace and Faith really hit it off with her. They loved it. It was awesome. They were just talking. So we go back to the condo, and they say, well, I want to write her a little note. So they write a little note of thank you, and then they want me to take it back. And so we go back, and they take the note to her and everything. So I thought that was it. So when I get to Aquatica, I said, what happened to all your money? She said, we gave it to the waitress. She said, oh, Father's Day, y'all ready? I want to be like you, Dad. And I went, excuse me for the motions. Just go, wait a minute. But the idea was, this was it. This is what you have to think. If you want to live well, you're going to have to think about these opportunities that come up. You can't see yourself as just part of the way things are. You got to see yourself moving kingdoms. You got to see bringing the good. We're the ones that bring good. It doesn't happen on its own. It will never happen on its own. We're the ones, the Christians, that bring the good. And this is what happened. Make the most of every opportunity. And they took advantage of an opportunity. And I asked her, I said, why don't you tell me you're giving all your money? She said, I'm afraid you may not let me do that. But they did it anyway. So do you see the opportunities? This is what it's talking about. If you're waiting for perfect conditions, let me say this. We live in America. We can do what we want. Can we not? We can just about do what we want. We need to make sure we choose the right things. And you say, well, I want to be a giver. I want to be this. When are you going to do that? The ship will never come in. Today's that day. This is what the Bible says. Today is the day in which you do the things I've taught you to do. And this is what I was talking about with faith. It isn't about, listen very carefully, it isn't about what you say, it's about what you do. You can say you're this way, you can say you're that way, but it's what you live. And you should live free. You should be giving people money. You should be helping people with whatever it is. You should be blessing other people. You live in America. And I'm wondering, let me ask this question. I wonder if our freedom is messing us up. I'm just wondering a little bit, okay? I'm wondering a little bit if our freedom is messing us up. Because this is the second part of how to live. The Bible tells us that you've got to forgive. Now, let me go ahead and say this. This isn't about the other people. This is about you. This isn't about the people that wronged you. This isn't about the people that hurt you. If you're not careful, you will live a bitter life in a free country. You will always be mad. And you know some of those people, right? I hope you're not one of them, okay? There's a whole list of people that you wish God would take out. There's a whole list. But you know this? Let me tell you something. You're on somebody's list too. We're not perfect. If we were perfect, Jesus would never come. We're not perfect. We've got to be careful with these things as we do these things. We've got to learn to forgive quickly. I'm a pastor. I have a list. It is amazing, and all my pastors have a list. Listen, there's no way to keep doing this unless you learn to forgive people, because people are not going to make the right decisions. Did y'all notice that? Your children are not going to make the right decisions. We work really hard to teach people to make the right choices. And there's the problem we might have. Has our freedom messed up what we should be doing? Are we making the wrong choices because we're free? Are there too many choices? That would be the thought behind all that. Learning how to forgive. Look after each other so that none of you fails to receive the grace of God. Pay attention to what it's saying. Pay attention here. Watch out that no poisonous root of bitterness grows up to trouble you, corrupting many. What he's saying is, forgive early, stop it soon. Don't go to sleep on it. Don't wait on it. Go deal with it. Because what happens, then the corrupting many is you. It's so hurtful and hurt you so bad that now it's spilling over into all your relationships. Psychologists tell us this. I couldn't even have to use the Bible. I can just tell you from life experience. They say that most people are in the hospital because of unforgiveness. It brings on so many things in our life. We don't have joy. We don't have peace. We can't celebrate anymore. We're not happy, and nobody wants to be around us. We reduce our friends down to nothing because we cannot trust anybody, and everybody hurts us. We have to learn to say, I forgive and move on. This is not easy. And I'm not saying the people that hurt you are right, by the way. I'm not saying they're right. I'm just trying to get you to live. So if I want to live, I learn to give and I learn to forgive. This is how the best way to live a Christian life in America. This is what they're telling us. This is what the Bible says to us. Cut that thing, cut it off. That root of bitterness, cut it off, get it out. Pretty soon that'll be a tree and you'll be hard to move. And you got to be careful. So bitterness is going to turn into a lot of things. The last thing I want to talk about is I live. I hope that you're living. I really do. I hope that things are going well for you. But I'm not sure. Let me say this. I'm not sure if freedom has been good for the church. I'm not sure because I'm watching this thing happen across America. And I've been in it 20 years and it's all changed in so many years, that kind of thing. And the banks tell us this, people tell us this, when the economy's good, the churches will suffer. Because there's so many choices that we can make. And what happens, instead of God being a decision, he becomes a choice like all the other things, or an option on the other things. And what's happened to a lot of the churches across America, now it was coming here, by the way, we're the Bible Belt. It was on its way. It's already been happening in California, across everywhere. And I've already told you that. I don't see how anybody goes to church in Florida. Why? Because of choices, not decisions. And we have made God one of those options in our life. And we have to be careful. Is God an option or God a decision? And what I mean by that, the weekend comes and we have to decide something. Do we go to Dollywood? Do we go to the beach? Do we go to the lake? Or is it God this weekend? That's what happened. And so the average church attender now is once every 4 weeks. Now, I'm not sure how much good we're doing across America, and I'm talking with our pastors and everything. We're trying to figure out the best way to communicate with you guys and to help you grow as a Christian, but we're only getting once a month or once every 6 weeks. I don't know if you can have a marriage like that. If you're married, you only met once every month or once every 6 weeks, I don't even know how a marriage would work like that, much less I love God and people. You see what I'm saying? So we've created a thing. It's called the fast food church now. In other words, we're coming in and we get fed a little bit. We don't like that. We go down here. And then it's almost like we need a drive-through. It's like a drive-through, and we'll throw something at you as you come in, because you're so busy. Because we have so many choices. Now, what I love about you is that you chose this weekend to be here, which most people would not have chose this weekend. That's why we're doing one service, by the way. Because don't hear what I'm not saying. I just got back from SeaWorld, okay? And I'm going to go to Dollywood, and I'm going to play golf. But those are my options. My decision is I'm going to follow God, and I'm going to be where he is and where he wants me, and I'm putting my time and my money where he wants me to be. He's not an option. That's not an American thing. That's a Christian thing. And see what is happening, and you have to be careful with your families. You got to be careful with you. Has God become an option, or has God a decision? And so it makes what I do very difficult to figure out how all this is going to work. I want you to have the best life. I want you to enjoy life. The Bible tells us to celebrate and have parties all the time, and we're going to do that. We're going to have a big one in a minute. But I'm trying to figure out, are we doing the best things because we can choose? Other countries look at us and think we're a little bit off. I mean, so you go to another country, and like today, now some people will be killed today. I think, do y'all know this? There are Christians that are going to be killed today because they're a Christian. And they're fighting and trying to figure out how to get together with you guys without being shot. And they have this thought in their head that you actually have a Bible, but you don't read it. You have 5 in your home and you don't read it. You have an option to go to church every weekend and you won't. This is how they think. They think we're off. It's called the American Christian, where God has become an option and not a decision. And we have to be very careful that our freedoms don't take us away from the things that we need to be doing. I'm going to show you a verse that tells you exactly this. Be careful, however, that the exercise of your rights as an American, as a Christian, be very careful, does not become a stumbling block to the weak. Be very careful. Just because we're free, and here's what's really interesting, as a Christian, I don't have rights. The whole New Testament is about how to get over yourself. Do I do marathon because I choose to, or do I do marathon because it's a decision that's been made? Is the decision. Could I do something else? Well, sure I could. You could too, couldn't you? We all could do something else. But this is the best way to move the kingdom. It still works and it's still happening. What you have to figure out is God an option or is God a decision? That's what we have to be careful of. Just because you can doesn't mean you should, or do we? And we have been given this right. We should be able to thank God every day when we get up and kiss the ground, you live in America. And we get really irritated at Starbucks because there's a line. And they didn't put enough whipped cream on it. You notice how that works? It is amazing. I am very grateful. I don't know if I'm getting older. Yes, I am, by the way. I admit it. But I've noticed as I got older, I'm starting to appreciate more things. I think that's what happens. I've worked so hard trying to build Marathon and trying to help people find their way, and I'm still doing it. But I'm starting to enjoy you guys again. I'm really having fun with you. And I challenge all of you to cornhole today, by the way. Just throwing it out there. But I'm going to have fun. You need to have fun. But what you're going to have to figure out when it comes to this life thing and what we're talking about, when it comes to life, he says, I recommend having fun, okay? But be careful that your freedom doesn't make God an option, but it still makes God a decision. You got to be careful. Just because you can choose doesn't mean you should. We got to have fun because there's nothing better for people in this world than to eat, drink, and be merry. Is that true? You know what we're going to do today? We're going to celebrate in a minute. You know why we're going to celebrate? Because the men and women gave us the right to do this, and we're going to celebrate for them. And we're not going to complain. We're not going to fuss. It's not going to be hot. I know it will, but it won't. Okay? And if you need me, I'll have this for your parents. I am very good. I am professional now. I can hit them right in the face where it's good. Without abuse, no abuse. Don't do that. Okay? But I'm telling you, this is what the Bible says. But God can't be an option. He's got to be a decision, or you will not have life. Does everybody hear what I'm saying? Are you picking up what I'm laying down? I'm just telling you. So this is it. Red, white, and blue. I give, I forgive, I live. This is the whole Bible. I give, I forgive, I live. That's the whole Bible. That's what we do. I'm going to